Let's make some noise. Come on.
Right indeed, Nick Foles. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to another fine episode of The Final Word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. With your boy MattyB on the call on this frigid Tuesday evening. We are one step closer. Yeah, I can taste it. And as the title of the show states tonight, Phillies. And that is what we are going to get into deep tonight. I mean, deep Phillies talk. Tomorrow, Phillies and with their pitchers and catchers, their first official team pitcher catcher only workout will be commenced tomorrow at whatever time down in Clearwater. They are hard at it as we speak, but tomorrow it counts. Tomorrow it's real. We have pitchers and we have catchers, and then on the 16th, full team workouts. And yes, Nick Castellanos is still on this baseball team. So tonight we're going to get into some deep Phillies talk because it's time. You know, we've messed around with it long enough. We've danced in and out of the topic long enough. On the eve of pitchers and catchers, it's time for us to get down and dirty about the 2026 Phillies and what they may or may not look like this season. We're also going to continue on our Eagles off-season position group evaluations, not necessarily evaluations, but the top storylines of certain position groups. We did the offensive line last week. Tonight, we're going to talk the top storylines of the quarterback room in 2025. So, yeah, as much as I try to stay away from the goddamn thing, Jalen Hurts will be a topic of conversation tonight on the program. Your day in Philadelphia sports history, your of the night, and your card review, all of that fine programming rolled up into as long as we can get it through the airwaves and however long it takes. So we're looking forward to a great run here on the network tonight. Joe Hale says, hi, everybody. Hello, Joe. How are you tonight? Good to see you back. Good to see everybody back. Good to see people. Also, tomorrow, a big day. I gave you some erroneous information. I said 2026 Top Series 1 was coming out on the 12th. No. Tomorrow, nationwide at noon, high noon, 12 p.m. is when the actual cards will become available. I don't know if that means like store clerks around the country are synchronizing their watches, and at 12 p.m., boom, they hit the shelves. I don't really know what that means. I don't know how you can get it down to an hour of the day, but sometime tomorrow, you should be able to find, if you're looking hard enough for them, Topps 2026 Series 1 baseball cards. They should be on the shelves tomorrow, and I will be looking. Trust me, I will be out in force tomorrow at some point looking for them. Maybe grab a mega box or a hobby box just to kind of get the season started. It's always good to usher in the new year as quickly as you possibly can. And sports cards and collecting has truly become a year-round event over the past 15 or 20 years. They don't, the way these cards are released throughout the year, the amount of series that these cards have, and I'm speaking Topps, of course. It is truly a year-long thing, because just as you think you're done, which we had with Topps Chrome Update back in late December or late November into early December for Christmas, well, just as you think you're done, boom, we're turning around here. It's February, and we're starting again with Series 1 2026. So they have definitely turned it into a year-round extravaganza. And tomorrow, we will renew that once again. So a lot to talk about on the show tonight. We're going to get into it right away. Let's first start with what we usually do here on the program is our week in advance here on the network. Tonight, if you were tuned in earlier, you had the Pittsburgh Sports Tonight with John Phillips. Tonight, you got me, and tomorrow you'll have Pittsburgh Sports Tonight and me and the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. A Pittsburgh kind of night tomorrow, and that leads us into our Mega Thursday. The Birds Blast at 4 p.m. with Kyle Quinn will return for one final 2025 episode. Season 6 of the Birds Blast will commence or end tomorrow or Thursday, as me and Kyle will talk everything Eagles. And yes, a little disclaimer, a little programming note, a little PSA. we are going to reopen some old wounds. And we're going to have to go back to that 49er game because I have not had the opportunity to talk about that game with Kyle. So we're going to reopen some old wounds and probably open some new ones as we put a bow on the 2025 Eagles. You'll also have maybe I don't know if the Pittsburgh Sports Night show will be on Thursday. I think John's on the road, so I don't know if he'll do a Thursday night show. That's the plan, though, going forward, 4 nights of the week. But they will do the Gridiron Weekly, and then I will be back for one final night of the Final Word with MattyB until Sunday. On Friday, Al returns for the Philly Friday Frenzy. On Saturday, it's the best of the week of the It's a Wrap Sports Network. If you missed it this week, don't worry. We got you covered on Saturday as we'll replay everything in its chronological time that it was aired. So if you're looking for the Philly AM sports show that aired on Sunday morning, you can catch that at Saturday morning at 8 a.m. That'll be the first show you'll see. And then pretty much from that point forward, we run them sort of in order of how they aired. And then Sunday, we get it all started again with the Philly AM Sports and the Final Word with me. So chock full programming on the network, as always. And we are getting into that time of the year. We are maybe not that close to it, but the fight is final. Will return for its 5th season. The fight is final will return on March 26th, but we will do our 2026 Phillies preview show around the 22nd of March. Look for it then, and that will be live. That's a live episode as we'll come together, and you'll be able to see at least who we start the season out with as far as doing the show, because we'll all do it together. And then, of course, we'll break into our solo pods throughout the first half, come back together at the All-Star break again, and then come back together for dual episodes during the postseason. God willing, there's a postseason. So that is on the horizon, and a couple other things that we're working on. So always something to watch and see here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. And please like, share, subscribe, do all those things that the kids do, and help me out, help me grow this thing. But all right, let's get into our day in Philadelphia sports history, because I do want to get into some Phillies, a lot of Phillies tonight. On this day in 1949, the aptly named Jumpin' Joe Fulks, one of the pioneers of the modern jump shot, Phillies' own Paul Arison, gets some recognition here too. And among the first NBA Hall of Fame inductees, scored then record 63 points for the Philadelphia Warriors in a 108-87 rout of the Indianapolis Jets. Indianapolis Jets. I can say that I've never heard of that. So I guess in 1949 on this day, the then record for most points in an NBA game was set by Jumpin' Joe Fulks of the Philadelphia Warriors. Of course, that record would be broken by Wilt Chamberlain a little bit later on when he dropped 100. And then, of course, we've been having the race to 100 ever since. Nobody has come close to that. But on this night, the modern record was set, at least for a while, by Jumpin' Joe Fulks of the Philadelphia Warriors. And there you go. A very down and dirty to the point day in Philadelphia sports history. And that was brought to you by the great folks over at the Philly Friday Frenzy Show with Big Al. Big Al is your ferryman through your Friday nights of wrapping up your sports week. Make sure you check out. Give Al some love, man. Al needs love in his life. He does. I fear that he doesn't get enough of it. I fear that he lives his life alone in a cocoon, void of any sort of human contact. Now, that to me sounds like paradise, honestly, but for most normal people, that's not. So give Al some love on Friday nights at 9 p.m. here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network for the Philly Friday Frenzy with Big Al. Let's see. Joe, I have a comment here. Let me get it on. Is there a Flyers midpoint show? Not sure. Still working that out. Not sure. I wouldn't mind doing one. I will see if me and Mike can get something done. But here's the thing, though, Joe. And honestly, I hate to say this. I hate to be this guy, but let's be honest. What's the point? What's the point of talking Flyers midway point? We all have seen what's happened through the first half of this season, or through the first 56 games, whatever it is. We've already seen it. Do we have to sit down and rehash it So we got to talk about the obvious problems in between the net. We got to talk about the lack of center scoring. We got a lack of defense, the mental breaks, the slow starts. They just don't have enough type Flyers again and again. We've been talking about this same thing for 3 years now. But if people want it, I'll see what I can do. But it's tough. It's tough, man, to talk about the Flyers. It really is. And I know there's a reward coming one day when we'll have meaningful hockey in April. And I mean real meaning. I don't mean just, hey, we made it. No, I mean meaningful, like playoff hockey that leads somewhere. All right. I know that day will happen one day. Now, hopefully I'm still of sound mind and body and when we can talk about it. But till then, I don't know, man. I'm down on the Flyers. I'm starting to lose faith. Starting to lose hope. Again, the rebuild thing, it is what it is. I understand what a rebuild is. But in my opinion, this is not going right. In my opinion, the Flyers are not taking enough steps forward. I know the caveat to the rebuild has always been we're going to do it the right way. We're not going to cut corners. We're not going to shave points. We're not going to do it the wrong way. I get that. But if the right way, if we're using the right way of a rebuild models to mirror the Detroit Red Wings or to mirror the Buffalo Sabres or to mirror, say, Anaheim, I don't got that kind of time, man. All right. These teams have been in rebuilds for the last 10 years. I don't think any Flyer fan, when they accepted the rebuild, and I don't think any Flyer fan questioned that a rebuild was needed, but I don't think we were signing on for 10 years. Right. And I get it. It's the NHL. I understand the limitations there. I understand that there's not a slew of these generational guys growing on a tree, and you got to get there's a sense of luck involved. But right now, what I see from the Flyers is absolutely no gambling ability. They're not gambling on anything. They are literally taking this thing one day at a time. And I get it. It's rebuild. But did we sign on for this? I signed on for a rebuild that was aggressive, right? I signed on for a rebuild that was going to take and roll the dice and take chances. And they're not doing that. It's literally a year after year, one step forward, maybe 2.5 back. But the product is the same that it was 3 years ago. We're nowhere closer to getting anywhere in this. We've evaluated players. We've decided that there's certain players that we don't want to be around or have here. We've moved on from them. But now we're on to another group. And they might have misevaluated the ones they left here because this group of players is not going to evolve much more than what they are right now. And I again, am I the only one who sees that? And why Danny B assumingly or seemingly is trying to lead us down this very long road of, be patient, let it kind of take hold. Listen, Bobby Brink is what Bobby Brink is now, and he'll be what that is 5 years from now. You know what I mean? Owen Tippett is what he's now and what he'll be 5 years from now. I don't think there's any more evolution there with any of these players. And as far as the drafting goes, I think it's also time to understand or to face the facts. They haven't drafted well. They haven't. The Cutter Gauthier thing is really become a pain in the ass to think about how we got done dirty there or how the Flyers did him dirty or somebody did somebody dirty and then he's not here anymore. MattyB Michkov, I pride myself in understanding hockey, and it annoys me when somebody doesn't watch hockey. He wants to make a comment about MattyB Michkov and doesn't really understand the player. I've watched him in Russia for 2 years. I know what he is. He's incredibly gifted. He's incredibly talented, but he's also incredibly stubborn, right? And I'm not looking past what happened this year. I mean, the balls on this kid to show up to an NHL training camp in his second year, out of shape, and expect the world to open up in front of him is a huge red flag when it comes to character. And if you've ever been inside of a hockey dressing room and a hockey locker room, character is a big thing. And there's a bunch of trust that goes on inside that room. There's a bunch of trust that has to happen out there on the ice. And if you can't rely on MattyB Mitchkop to have the self-awareness to come to camp in shape, to continue battling for a job that he hasn't won yet, I don't, talent be damned. He's not that talented, right? And if he's not willing to work for it and to put the best foot forward, he's never going to be what we want him to be. And honestly, it's a huge red flag that a lot of people who don't know know nothing about hockey want to compartmentalize hockey into the other sports, and it doesn't work. Hockey's its own thing. But when you have a guy comes in and says, you know what, I don't care about the team, I don't care about what's happening, I don't care about this, I don't care about that, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I have not earned any of that, but I'm still going to do what I want to do. That's a huge character issue, and that's a huge red flag. And he was doing that in the KHL too. He was most certainly doing that in the KHL. He got suspended multiple times for conduct unbecoming or detrimental to the team. 3 times to my last account, he was suspended. Now, a lot of people chalk that up to, hey, he wants to get to the NHL. But I don't know anymore, man. I don't know. Is he a competent, good player? 100%. Could he be a lot more than what he is? 100%. And I just don't think he wants to work for it. I really don't. So I'm concerned with MattyB Mitchkop. I'm concerned with the entire drafting process over the last 3 or 4 years. Don't even get me started on Jetlachenko. Right? So to answer your question, Joe, it's frustrating, man, to want to have to sit down and talk about the same thing over and over again. Because I'm not seeing nothing from the team. I'm not seeing nothing from management. There is no best foot forward here going on. It's literally a slow grind that the Flyers are going to try to sell the fans that it's going to take 10 years. And I don't think any of us are going to accept that. So yeah, we could do a show, I guess. Yeah, I guess. At least do a trade deadline special if you guys can. Again, we'll see. We'll see if we can pull it off. They're going to be buyers or sellers anyway, so maybe we will. All right. So Phillies. Let's talk some Phillies. Let's get into the Phillies. All right, let's put up this pretty little graphic. I took some time out today. Actually, you know what? Before we talk about the Phillies, so I want to get into the Phillies tonight, but before I do that, I want to give a snapshot about the NL East. Let's talk some NL East baseball. As we get ready for spring training, the first question that I guess on a lot of people's minds is, are they good enough to win their division again? I know there's been a lot of talk about the Braves and their return to glory. The Mets refitting heavily in the offseason. Nationals and the Marlins, stockpiled with a lot of young talent that could eventually take hold. So I said, you know what? Let's stop, because there's a lot of stuff flying back and forth. I want to go over. I want to break down the National League East. I want to talk about projected starting lineups, projected starting rotations, about the other teams within the National League East, and then we're going to get into the Phillies, because when you look at some of these rosters, and by the way, Schwallenbach got put on the 60-day IL today by the Braves, so he's going to be out for a minute, at least the first 60 games of the season. For the Braves, and that's another hit to them right off the bat for that pitching staff, which is not a deep to begin with. And that seems to be a common theme in the National League East. The big thing about the Phillies was losing Ranger Suarez. Is that going to be the death roll for them? Not having Zach Wheeler available until, assumingly sometime in late May. Is that something the Phillies can sort of absorb in the early part of the season, as it pertains to the other teams within the National League East? And I think I'm going to open some people's eyes tonight, especially when it comes to pitching within our own division. It's not that good. It isn't. And even in my opinion right now, the way the Phillies rotation stacks up, with the question marks of Painter, and then of course relying on Taijuan Walker to potentially be somewhat more important in the starting rotation than any of us are comfortable with, I still think the Phillies have one of the deeper, if not the deepest, rotation in the NL East. And that's it's telling. It really is. So I want to break that down quickly. I want to go through the teams in the National League East and talk about that. Yep, he is out for 6 weeks, dealing with a bone break on some weird bone that he's going to miss 6 weeks. Probably should be ready for maybe, I don't know, they probably give him an extended spring training. Yeah, we'll see him around Easter. We'll see him around the end of April. He won't miss that much, but he definitely will not be ready for the start of the regular season. So big news of coming out of New York as well for Francisco Lindor. But let's get into this. So let's talk about the Nationals here. All right. Now, again, some context here. There are some teams in this division that are just not ready. Okay. And this is one of them. But there's some definite signs the Nationals are they have a they got a plan, right? Their lineup: C.J. Abrams, Dylan Cruz, James Wood, and Dylan Lyle. 1 through 4. Obviously, that is your future right there. That is the future of the Washington Nationals. C.J. Abrams is turning into one of the more dominant defensive players. He's got to up his offensive game a little bit. Dylan Cruz, a little bit of a letdown of a rookie season. I think he, but again, he's sort of learning his own way. James Wood's the real deal. Dylan Lyle is the real deal. And then it's a little bit of a mishmash of the rest of their lineup going down. But the heart of the Nationals team lies 1 through 4. And that is the future of this organization. 100% offensively. That's what they're building this team around. The young talent that they've acquired through trades, the young talent that they've acquired through, trades, Soto trade, the Mackenzie Gore trade. This is how you do it. This is how you assemble young talent, but it takes a minute for that young talent to sort of develop. But all signs are looking positive for the Nationals in the future, but that future is just not now. And they're going to be down there at the bottom of the NL East again. As far as their rotation, again, minus Mackenzie Gore, is now just a bunch of real no names, wannabes, could have been, should have been, young players that really, we can sit here and try to break some of these guys down, but some of these guys we really can't talk about. And with the decision to move off of Mackenzie Gore, that was definitely a sign that the Nationals were being patient with their pitching. So right off the bat, obviously, when we're talking Washington Nationals, we're not going to get into any sort of, heated debate, because it is what it is. They are what they are, and it's not a very good team. So let's talk about the Miami or Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins, or whatever they're called. By the way, the Marlins are going to their not their first uniforms, but the ones that they wore after they got rid of the vests back in the mid-90s. They're going to go to those teal jobbies with I think it said Marlins or Florida written across the front with the fish. They're going to wear those on Sundays at home this year. They already made that announcement. And here you go. This is your Miami Marlin projected lineup and rotation. When we look at this lineup, let's Xavier Edwards, we know who that is, and then we just don't know who the rest of these guys are. Christopher Morel, we know who he is. Griffin Connie, we know who he is. Connor Norby, I know who he is. But again, this is a team that's very much so in flux as they try to build their identity internally, and that takes time. Pitching wise, Sandy Alcantara is a force. Whether or not Sandy Alcantara survives another season in Miami might be the biggest story. Is this the year they finally move off of him and trade him to a contender? He's always talked about at the deadline as a hot target. Is this the year? He's 1 year removed back from a off season in 2020. Had a solid 2025. Is this the year that teams take a plunge on him in 26 and say, you know what, a trade deadline deal might be forthcoming? And then it's a bunch of younger players mixed in with some veterans. Chris Paddock, a notable name there as their number 5 starter. Meyer and Garrett are returning from injuries. So it's again a very much what the Miami Marlins are, or the Florida Marlins are, a work in progress. And there's no question that right now, as we sit here in mid-February, you're looking at the Marlins and the Nationals fighting for 4th and 5th place within that division. I don't know if there's any real anything more to say about that. And if I've disrespected any Marlins or National fans out there, I apologize, but that's just a hard, cold reality of what we're dealing with here in the NL East when it comes to those teams. So now let's get into some of the heavy hitters. Let's talk about those hot Atlanta Braves. All right. So again, the Braves, a team that was beset with injury last year, just couldn't catch a break. Now we find out that Schwallenbach is now on the 60-day DL. They're calling it elbow inflammation. So that's a hit to that rotation, but a very formidable lineup. This is their projected lineup to start the season. Acuna, Profar, Olsen, Riley, Drake Baldwin had an amazing rookie season, came out of nowhere. Ozzie Albanese, Michael Harris the second. Then you get Eli White and Marcusio Dubon. It's a pretty solid lineup, 1 through 7. And they can come at you at all different directions. And what I like about the Atlanta Braves is, and you're going to see this kind of theme with the Mets as well. If we're going to make any sort of connections between the Phillies, the Braves, the Mets, who are obviously the class of this division, the Braves have kind of moved off of the power thing, right? These are hitters right here, 1 through 7, that have power. Acuna has power, right? But Acuna's a contact hitter. Jackson Profar is a contact hitter. Matt Olson is a power contact hitter. Austin Riley is a contact hitter. Drake Baldwin's got power, but he's a contact hitter. Albanese is a contact hitter. Michael Harris is a contact hitter. Do you see the theme here? The Braves, I don't think, are really concerned about hitting 300 home runs. They're concerned about moving runners along the bases. And this is what not scares me about the Braves. What concerns me about the Braves, their structure of their lineup versus the structure of our lineup. It scares the living Christ out of me. Now, it all comes down to injuries. Can Acuna stay healthy? Can Olsen stay healthy? Can Riley stay healthy? Can Drake Baldwin continue to develop as a young catcher? Michael Harris has had some injury issues. So it all really comes down to injuries with the Braves. But if healthy, there's no reason to believe that offensively the Braves are going to score runs. Now, let's go to their pitching rotation. Chris Sale, Spencer Strider, Ronaldo Lopez, Grant Holmes, and Bryce Elder. Competent, can keep you in games. They'll provide you enough on the mound if healthy. If Strider can stay healthy, Sale can kind of hold together for another year. That's a rotation that'll keep you around, especially when it comes to this lineup. So yes, the Atlanta Braves, if they can stay healthy, and that has been the big if with the Atlanta Braves over the past few seasons, whether or not they can stay healthy. But if they can, this is a team that concerns me because of the way they're made up, the structure of the team. They're not a one-trick pony offensively. And that's what concerns me. Obviously, the Schwallenbach news is pretty big. Holmes is dealing with some elbow problems. Lopez is returning from shoulder surgery, so there is some questions about the durability of that rotation. But offensively, they should be able to score runs. Now, whether they can keep the runs off the bases is going to be the big question with the Braves. So, yes, it comes down for the Atlanta Braves in 2026 with pitching. Do they have enough of it? And who's hanging out down there in Gwinnett in the AAA level that they're going to spring on us this year? What future Cy Young Award winner that nobody knows right now is pitching down for the Gwinnett Stripers in the AAA level that's going to find his way up to Atlanta and win 25 games this year? That's the big question with the Atlanta Braves, and that's a big wild card for them as well, that farm system of theirs. But the Braves will be a factor if they can stay together and healthy, but it's not something that they've been able to do very, very well over the past few years. All right, now let's go to the biggest rivals that we're going to face, and a lot of people are looking at as the potential, heir apparent to the National League East. And that is, of course, the Metropolitans. Lindor is on the 60-day IL, so that's going to change. Soto, again, this is a projected lineup. They're going to move Soto up to second in the lineup. Of course, we're minus Lopez. Alonso, this is what the Mets lineup could look like in 2026. Lindor when he's back, Soto, Bichette, Polanco, Luis Robert, Brett Beatty, Marcus Semien, who they brought in a trade with the Rangers, Alvarez, the catcher, and the youngster named Carson Benj, a prospect that they may be given some opportunities to down there from Syracuse. This is a remade lineup. This is the Mets deciding they're going a different direction. Obviously, when they lost the polar bear, they didn't necessarily replace his power. No, they didn't. They replaced him with a contact hitter in Bo Bichette, Luis Robert, who's a hitter, and Simeon, who's a hitter. That's basically who they use to replace the production or from the power from Alonso. I like multiple, functional lineups, man. And this is, again, what concerns me about what the Mets lineup might look like in 2026, what the Braves lineup looks like in 2026. And it concerns me because our lineup doesn't look anything like this. Our lineup is one trick only. And I fear, my number one need, desire in the offseason was the Phillies to infuse some young talent. Because I want a lineup that looks like this eventually. And looks like the Braves lineup. I don't want power bats all up and down the lineup. That's why the Bellinger, the Tucker, all the cries for those guys. Get the hell out of here with that, man. Give me Marcus Simeon, right? Give me Marcus Simeon in my lineup. Give me, I guess, Luis Robert if I could have signed him as a free agent, not had to trade for him, right? Obviously, give me Bo Bichette. These are the type of hitters that I want. I want guys that can get on base. Now, the big bugaboo for the Mets, it's the pitching. They went out and strengthened it with Freddie Peralta from the Tigers in a trade late season, or they signed him late. They signed him or trade for him? They traded for him. Nolan McLean, the phenom that came out of nowhere last year from the Syracuse Mets. Does he continue his progression into 2026? Clay Holmes, Sean Manaea, another year of him. David Peterson and Senga. 1, 2, and 3. I mean, listen. Does this rotation scare me? No. Does it look better than it did last year? Yeah, it does, with the additions of Peralta and Nolan McLean, if he is the real deal. If McLean's the real deal, then yeah, this could be a formidable group. Senga, can he stay healthy? Manaea, can he give you what? Anything, obviously, the problem with the Mets are going to be, once again, or the unknown. I shouldn't say a problem. The unknown with the Mets will be their pitching. Can they keep the runs off? I think they can score the runs with this projected lineup, but can they keep the runs off the base pads? We'll wait and see, I guess. But that is, again, pitching. I want you guys to remember with the pitching issues that we're talking about here. So let's finish it up with the Fightins. Again, this is a projected lineup. This is me doing this from more of an analytical standpoint. I don't endorse this lineup. I know you see Alec Bohm batting fourth there. I don't endorse that. No way I do. But analytically speaking, it makes the most sense. It does. I know. I hear it. I can feel it right now. I get you. But let's look at this projected lineup. Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Bohm, Marsh, Garcia, Stott, Realmuto, and Crawford. All right. Power laden, streaky ass hitters in the middle, a reclamation project in Garcia towards the back end. What are we going to get out of Bryson Stott? JT Realmuto, does he have anything offensively? And what are you going to get from Justin Crawford? Am I in love with this? No. This stinks. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. Not only do the players don't impress me, but the way you have to put them in the lineup to make it look like it makes sense doesn't impress me. I can't stomach Alec Bohm batting fourth. JT's down there batting eighth. Again, analytically speaking, those are the concerns I have for the Phillies offensively, because we already know what this is. We know this lineup. We know what these guys are going to do, right? We know how they're going to go about their daily at-bats. We know how they're going to score runs. We know home run or nothing for a lot of them. So offensively, if you're asking me right now to stack up the Phillies offensively against the Braves and the Mets, I say the Phillies come in last there. I much prefer the Braves and Mets lineups than I do the Phillies, 100%. But where it deviates from me largely is in the pitching. And even with Zach Wheeler's a question mark heading into the season, I think hands down the Phillies have a better rotation than any one of the teams in the division right now. And that is what we have lost sight of. You know, a lot of people have lost sight on what got the Phillies where they got to last year. It was this offense and it was this rotation for the most part. You know, obviously Wheeler was out. Painter wasn't here. Throw in Walker Buehler there. But that's it. That's the rotation that carried the Phillies through the last quarter of the season and into the playoffs. And I've never heard anybody blame the Phillies' problems in 2026 on their pitching. It was their hitting. The Phillies have a superior rotation right now. They do, compared to the rest of the National League East. And that is what they're going to have to lean on in 2026 again. Because I think offensively, the Mets and Braves are just a better team. They're more complete. They're more structured. They can score runs multiple different ways, and the Phillies failed to sort of change that. Now, what is Justin Crawford? Right, it's an unknown there. What is Garcia? What can he provide you? It's unknown. So there's some wiggle room there. And then you look at Kemp, you look at Miller. Those are unknowns. Raconis, whatever. You look at those individuals. Those are some unknown factors. But right now, as it looks on paper to start the season, I think offensively the Phillies are the worst out of the contenders of the National League East. But it's going to be done with their pitching because I think they have the deeper staff right now than anybody else does in the league or in that division. So I don't know. Are the phone lines going to be maybe? We'll see. What time? Damn, 38 minutes already? Phillies windows was the last 2 years when the Braves had injuries that kept them from the playoffs. I think the Braves will be healthy, which is bad for the Phillies. Well, it's not starting off good for the Braves. Swallenbach is on 60-day IL, and that's not a good sign for the Braves. A very beleaguered pitching staff to begin with is now going to be down one. Again, I'm not, I get that, but listen, Michael, I just went over it. I just broke the NL East down, aside from the Nationals and the Marlins. I broke down the top three. And offensively, I don't like what the Phillies have. I don't like the way it looks on paper. I don't like the way you have to set it up to make it look right on paper. I hate it. I hate it. It's the same thing over and over again. And these other lineups, the Braves and the Mets, are going to be able to come at you on so many different directions with so many different types of hitters. I don't know offensively if the Phillies can keep up, but I do think their pitching staff is going to once again keep the Phillies in things because right now, as we looked at the National League East, even with the Phillies' problems that they're dealing with the uncertainty of Painter, the unavailability of Wheeler, I think there's still deeper rotation than any one of the teams in the division right now. And again, that could change. But for me right now, that's how I'm looking at it. So we are less than 24 hours away from the start of pitchers and catchers reporting or full workouts, whatever, tomorrow. And we can get it going. Now, tomorrow night, what we might break down is we might talk some We'll break down the American League East. We'll do all that. We'll go through Major League Baseball and we'll compare and contrast. We'll talk lineups and rotations. But I just wanted to get into that a little bit. I just wanted to bring it out into the air. Marlins Nationals are what they are. They're a young team that could surprise some people, but the reality is they're just way too behind, right? Mets, Phillies, and Braves are the class of that division. Offensively, in my opinion, the Braves and the Mets can come at you multiple different ways, a lot more ways than the Phillies can. But where the Phillies still have the Braves and the Mets right now, until proven otherwise, is in the pitching. And again, I think we forgot where we got last year, and we got there because of the pitching. So I don't know if that makes you feel better or makes you feel worse. I don't know. But that's how we're looking at it, in my opinion, to start the season. Can you open the phone lines tomorrow? I'm damn it. Stop pestering me about the phone lines, man. I'll get to them. I promise. But yeah, that's where I stand on that. So please chime in there. Let me know what you think. We are literally hours away from the official start of workouts in spring training, and we broke down the National League East. Tell me what you think of my projections. Nationals and Marlins still too far behind to really even consider. Phillies, Braves, and Mets, class act of the division. Braves and Mets have a better offense on paper than the Phillies, but the Phillies pitching is, to me, superior than the Braves and Mets right now. So please tell me what you think. But there you go. All right. So the phone lines are open. If you guys want to chime in, you can. Just wait for it to pop into your room. You know the drill. Click on the link. It'll put you backstage. I'll put you on stage. So phone lines are open. And one last little segment before we take some calls. I do want to transition now back to the Eagles because we are breaking down the position groups. We broke down the offensive line, talking about the top storylines of 2025 by position group. We did the offensive line about 10 days ago. Tonight, we're going to transition to the quarterback room, the much maligned quarterback room of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2025. And what were the top storylines of that room? Well, the top storylines were two of them. Team first or limits reached, trade chip or future starter. That's really the biggest storylines coming out of the quarterback room for me. Obviously, with the issues surrounding Jalen Hurts, or the not issues, but the allegations that telling certain people, hey, this is what I'll do and this is what I won't do. I won't run. I won't do this. I won't throw across the middle. Whatever. We work on things all week in practice, but then when Jalen goes out in the field, he does his own thing. Is that a team first, or has he reached his limits and now he's struggling? Time will tell about that. And then, of course, on the other side of that, Tanner McKee, is he a future starter or is he a trade chip? And honestly, with the Tanner McKee conversation, what good is it to keep Tanner McKee laying around in Philadelphia for one more year? The Eagles have multiple holes that need to be addressed on this team. If it's such taboo to even discuss benching Jalen Hurts around here, then get rid of him. Trade Tanner McKee. Trade him for a couple of draft picks. Trade him for some players. Get rid of him, because he's not doing anybody any good here if he's not going to give an opportunity to play, because it's such a taboo concept. But pretty down and dirty. And then a third storyline would be, is it time to draft a quarterback high in the 2026 draft in order to either replace Tanner McKee if you trade him, or to push Jalen Hurts back into the light? Is it time to amp up the heat on Jalen Hurts to start him realizing that, you know what, he could potentially lose his job? Big conversation around Jalen Hurts this day was, should the Eagles offer him a contract extension? I don't think they should, but maybe they will, maybe they won't. But team first or limits reached, trade chip or future starter, and is it time to draft a quarterback high in the 2026 draft? Those are your storylines, the top storylines of the quarterback room of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2025. Next week, we'll probably go and start talking running backs, and we'll break this thing down position group by position group as we move through the offseason. All right, let's go to the phones. What's up, Joe?
Hey, how are you? I just want to make this quick.
Why?
Well, my buddy's down there in Florida, and just found out for the first time ever, tomorrow is open to the public.
Awesome. Is he gonna bring his phone? Can he live stream from there? Because I want to watch.
Not allowed to take pictures or video.
Of course not.
But is that weird though? On the first day,
that they're letting people come in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know what? Here's the thing, though, Joe. We've been seeing leaked footage coming out of there. Well, not leaked, but they've been releasing footage. They're already kind of working out. You know what I mean? They're not just all standing in a circle. They're doing organized stuff right now. So I don't know if tomorrow is the first day, so to speak. You know what I mean? It might be the first official day, but I don't know if tomorrow's the first day. I think they've been at this for a few days now, unofficially. You know what I mean? But yeah, for the first official day, maybe it is kind of weird, but I'm not gonna. That's awesome. I wish I was there.
And Nikki C has been spotted already working out. He's on a minor league field working out.
Yeah. But he's at camp, huh?
Yeah, which is surprising.
Yeah. Man, that's a nightmare. That is a nightmare. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. But that's good to know. I mean, it's good to know that he's having a mature attitude about it, at least right now. Maybe he feels like he will get dealt before Monday. That's when he has to start doing it officially. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's taking the high road because he feels or he's been told, listen, this will be resolved in the next couple of days.
Yeah. I want to talk Sixers. And I noticed something in a blowout loss. They got blown out yesterday.
Against Portland.
Yes. Maxey deserves MVP.
Why is that?
The heart and soul of the Sixers. And
but he can't do it on his own.
Embiid did it on his own and won MVP.
Iverson did it on his own and won MVP.
So
Maxey's not doing it on his own, though, Joe. They got blown out.
It's a supporting cast.
Listen, Max is a good player. Don't get me wrong, but he's not Embiid. He's not AI. He's a very good player, but he's not that guy, right? He's maybe like Dwayne Wade 2.0. That's what I'll give him.
I would say he's better than Dwayne Wade.
But I'm not giving him Kobe status. I'm not giving him AI status. I'm not giving him Embiid status. He's not a you're not building a team around Maxey. He's a very good piece to add to a team.
Than LeBron?
Is he better than LeBron?
Yeah.
Well, today, yeah. I mean, LeBron's like 75 years old, man. Yeah, absolutely. But was he better than LeBron when LeBron was 19? No. No.
Okay.
No. Come on, Joe.
I don't like Nick Nurse as coach.
Yeah, I know. Listen, Kyle Lowry with a lot of minutes last night. Is that in direct, reflection of the McCain trade? Is that why Kyle Lowry's actually asked to play?
Everybody was sick.
Well, they were shorthanded, but again, if McCain was there, would Lowry have played all those minutes? Or if they would have gotten anybody, does Kyle Lowry play?
Oh, happy birthday to the Gobbler.
Yeah, I saw that. He's 40. Yeah. Yep.
I remember when I turned 40.
Yes, me too.
But
me too. It's good that he reached the legal age.
He's probably laughing as we talk about. Eagles coaching news. They brought back the wide receiver coach and the running backs coach
from this year.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Mannion's putting together his own staff. I mean, Joe, I think a lot of people would agree that outside of Philadelphia and outside the Eagles fan base, nobody else tracks who the hell their assistant coaches are like we do. I mean, if you talk to a Dallas Cowboy fan, can they tell you who the hell the special teams coordinator is? Can they tell you who the offensive line coach is? No, they probably can't. We can tell you all the coaches, man. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I don't know, man. Listen, the whole coaching situation with the Eagles is a wait and see for me in September. You just got to wait and see how it all comes together week one.
So they need a coach.
Yeah.
Would you go out? Who was the one? He coaches Houston Texans. If Josh McDowell, would you go out and bring him in?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would bring McNown. I'd bring Phillip Rivers in. I would bring if Carson Wentz decides to retire, I'd bring him in.
They said wants a head coaching job in 2 years. I could
start him out. Bring him here as make him the quarterback's coach. Absolutely.
I would like that. Or Nick Foles.
Bring Nick Foles in. Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely be on board with a recently retired quarterback coming in here and being Jalen Hurts, because I think someone needs to get through to him. Someone needs to know. Someone who knows the modern NFL really needs to get through to him.
If that's the case, bring in number 5, Donovan McNabb.
No.
Yeah, no. It's his motto: 5 will always love you.
Yeah, as long as there's a buffet around, he will always love you. Yes, but no, leave Donovan out of pasture, man.
And you said trade piece. I think the backup quarterback gets traded in the NFL draft.
Yeah, and it's not. I'm not trying to be besmirching towards Tanner McKee. Um, does Tanner McKee have the stuff to be a starter in this league?
No.
I don't. You can't say that. Could he start in Vegas? Yeah, I guarantee you the Raiders would take him in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? The bottom line is he's never going to get a fair shake here. There's such a lightning rod topic when you even discuss benching Jalen Hurts. So if you're not going to use the kid, and if he's such a problem, then get rid of him. You have so many other holes that need to be addressed on this team. Get rid of him. Draft another quarterback like in the 4th or 5th round so that it doesn't concern Jalen or whatever, and go that direction. Because I think Tanner McKee would. I think you could get a 3rd round pick for Tanner McKee or a 4th round pick.
I think they're going to go offensive line with the first 2 picks because and Lane Johnson reported, and this is breaking news. He's been working out. So does that tell you something?
It tells me he's rehabbing an injury.
That he's coming back.
Oh, you don't know that yet. Don't forget, you can't really the new league year, right? What's it, March 12th? Is that when it starts?
Yes.
He has to make some sort of announcement to the Eagles by then. Now, if March 12th comes around and they're business as usual, yes, he's coming back. But, if all of a sudden Eagles are scrambling for offensive linemen and we're talking to, blah, 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 right guards and all that, and they make an announcement, don't expect to hear anything official about Lane Johnson until about March 12th, because that's when the Eagles will have to be able to pivot and go a different direction. But maybe he's trying to give it a go. I don't know. We'll see. I don't think he's coming back. I really don't.
And I think Dickerson retires.
I think both of them are retiring this year.
And would you put? I'll let you go. One nice question: is Lane Johnson a Hall of Famer?
First ballot.
Okay, because with the juice and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, no, first ballot Hall of Famer. That was one time. It was one time. It wasn't A-Rod. It wasn't Barry Bonds. Not McGuire.
Jose Alvarado.
Yeah, it was Jose Alvarado. One time. Well, actually, it was twice, wasn't it? Did they catch him twice?
And Paul George. I know why he got suspended because he was taking Adderall.
Was it without a prescription?
No, he had a prescription, but didn't tell the team, the NBA.
So is Adderall a banned substance by the NBA?
Yes.
It is. So what do you do if you have, was that ADHD? Is that what that Adderall's for?
Yes.
So what do you do if you have it? Suck it up?
There is something else out there now.
That they give them that doesn't have sort of a hormone in it or something?
Yeah.
A PED? Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. Joe Hale breaking the news here on the network. All right, Joe. We'll talk tomorrow.
Yep.
All right, my man, Joe Hale. All right. So, yeah, I think Lane Johnson's the first ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah, I know he got caught twice cheating. Yeah. Don't be a hypocrite here. But I still think he revolutionized the position. Just a shutdown guy. Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson both are going to be first ballot. I don't know if Kelce's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know. He's getting in. I don't know if he's a first ballot guy, though. But Lane Johnson, if you had to ask me who's first ballot, Lane Johnson or Jason Kelce, and I only choose one, it would be Lane Johnson. But that's just my opinion there. Yes, I know he cheated and got caught twice. I know. McKee could start in Vegas, New York. Yeah, there's a ton of places that McKee could go to. I agree. And could start here, too. But I know that's not going to happen. So, no more. I don't want to hear another year of Tanner McKee stuff. I don't. If he's not going to get a shot here, and if there's, and if the player, I guess if Tanner McKee is okay with being a backup, I would personally. I'd love to be a backup. Hell yeah. Absolutely love to be a backup. But if Tanner McKee doesn't want to be a backup anymore, if he wants a legitimate chance to start, then you got to get rid of him, right? And you got to shut down all that nonsense about the McKee thing, And we are in a position that we need as many assets as we can get heading into this offseason. And if you can pick up a 3rd round or a 4th round pick for him, go ahead and grab it. And then draft a quarterback with that pick. to sort of groom under Jalen Hurts, because that guy might be the guy that has an opportunity, a couple, 3 years from now to start. But, the top 3 storylines of the quarterback room in 2025 for the Eagles was, Jalen Hurts. Is it, is he a team first guy, or is this, or is this it? Is this what he is? And Tanner McKee, play or trade. So I agree, though. I think it's time to move off McKee if you're not going to give him a shot. Absolutely. Peppernick, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Matty? Yeah, I'm listening to you about Lane Johnson. Yeah, he should get in there because, if they let Ray Lewis, who was the only one with blood on him, get in, he can get in there. Ben Roethlisberger's going to get in there. He roofied a bunch of women, so he'll get in there anyway.
Good point. That's a very good point.
And there's, but
man, we have fallen.
I think Jason Kelce. I actually think Jason Kelce is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, I do. I mean, I actually think he's a top 5 center of all time.
Listen, I'm not against it. I do think he'll get in. I don't know if he's a first ballot. Was Jeff Saturday a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I think he was better than Jeff Saturday, personally.
Yeah, I don't know. Jeff Saturday
personally, I do. Good. Yeah.
I mean, I don't doubt that Kelsey's not a Hall of Famer. He is, but first ballot, I don't know.
I think they both are, but I mean, it's like anything. As long as you get in there, it's all that matters. Unless you're Bill Belichick and they really screwed you for no reason at all.
Yeah.
But now, I saw this heading. It said the Phillies have announced that Zach Wheeler will not be ready for the start of the season.
Yes.
One song. Why would they announce that when the dummy upstairs already came out and said he wouldn't be ready till May 28th? He gave his exact date.
He did that back in November. He said that.
Yeah, something don't smell right in Denmark over there. Something don't smell right.
You're right. A lot of people don't pick up on those things, but I picked up on it, and obviously you picked on it. He said a date back in October when they did their end of season. Dombrowski said May 28th. He said it. Go back and look at the tape. He said May 28th. He's to be standing on a pitcher's mound somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. Why are they?
And then the Braves. I hope the Phillies are hinging on the Braves to be hurt for the 3rd year in a row. I mean, if Lindor's out, okay, maybe by luck they get second place because the Mets are going to fall apart. You know what I mean?
No, Papernick. Here's the deal, and I'm looking at the Braves. I got the Braves graphic up. Acuna, Profar, Olsen, Riley, Baldwin, Albanese, Harris, White, and Jabon. That's 1 through 7. That's a solid ass starting. That's a solid lineup. They can come at you in a lot of different ways.
Now here's our starting: Turner, Schwarber, Harper, Garcia. Wait a minute. Wait, we're not done. We're not done. Bomb, Marsh, JT. I mean, and our contact hitter and Crawford batting 9th. I mean, yeah.
Okay, but listen to this. This is the Braves' projected rotation. Schwallenbach is on the 60-day IL with elbow inflammation. You know what that's Greek for, right? That's potential Tommy John problems, right? We between the lines there. All right, so you got Schwallenbach on the IL for 60 days. Sale, Strider, Lopez, Holmes, and Elder. That is the 1 through 5 rotation projected for the Braves. Now Strider's coming back. He's still battling his way back from Tommy John. Sale is getting. Is Chris Sale not 105 yet? I mean, how long has this guy been pitching? Grant Holmes, Lopez and Holmes are solid guys, but they're about 4 ERA guys, and Bryce Elder is the younger version of that. They're going to score runs, but can they keep the runs off? Is what the problem will be with the Braves, and it's the same issue with the Mets. Don't you agree?
Well, it's the same issue with the Phillies. Sanchez, Luzardo.
I disagree.
Sanchez,
Luzardo. The best rotation in the division.
Okay. Well. Sanchez, Luzardo, and then tell me who's picking up the slack after that.
So it'll be Sanchez, Luzardo. It will be
Nola.
It was Sanchez, Luzardo, Walker, and Painter. Yes.
Painter. Okay, so we're putting our eggs in that Nola's going to come back. We're putting our eggs in what we know we're getting with Walker, and we have an unknown in Painter.
This is the rotation that took us to the playoffs minus Painter.
Yeah, well, did we get past the first round?
Yeah, but no, we did not. But was it the pitching?
It's a team thing, man. I mean, that's how I look at it.
I get it, but they all 106. Listen, I don't like our lineup. Not even a little bit, Papernick. I got it up here, and I had no choice, Papernick. It hurt me when I had to put this together. I had to put Alec Bohm batting fourth. I had to put JT Realmuto in the 8-hole. I had to put Kyle Schwarber batting third. I had no choice but to do that.
No, Garcia's going to bat fourth.
You think so?
They're expecting. Yeah, because he's hit 30-some home runs. They're banking on him to somehow hit at least 25 home runs this year. So he's going to bat fourth. But to get back, what I'm saying is, the most important pitcher on this staff is Aaron Nola. If Aaron Nola does not come back, they're done.
100%. He cannot have a 6 ERA in 2026 Yes, he cannot.
What I'm getting is this is no matter how bad we're all banking that the Braves are going to be like for the third year in a row injury prone and just hobbling around. It's not going to happen. Like you said earlier, they're going to pull some. They're going to pull some guys out, single A, double A, Tacoma, wherever. Off, it's just going to be a star.
Listen, I get it, and then let's talk the Mets real quick. All right, I had the Mets up. Just the Mets projected lineup. Okay, Lindor, who's on the 60-day IL himself right now, Soto, Bichette, Polanco, Luis Robert, Batty, Simeon, Alvarez, and Carson Bench, who's a rookie. That's a nice lineup too. That's a lineup that can score runs a lot of different ways, right? And I think it's a sight better lineup than the Phillies. A lot more structured, a lot more balanced, almost as balanced as the Braves lineup. This is the rotation. Peralta, who is a good pickup, a solid pickup. I don't think he's a 1, but he's in this rotation. Okay. He's not. I don't think he's a 1, but the Mets are going to put him as the ace. Nolan McLean, who was the rookie that came up last year to kind of set the world on fire. Does he continue that? Clay Holmes, Manea, David Peterson, and Senga. It gets a little thin going down from Holmes. No. Actually, from McLean down, it's a little thin. There's a lot of questions with that rotation. So I think the Phillies rotation, even the way it is better than that rotation.
2 years ago, was the Phillies rotation better than the Mets going into that series?
In 2024? Yes.
Yeah, when they got smoked. Okay, that's all I gotta say. It's just that's where I'm getting at. Don't bank on this rotation. I mean, I'm not saying they're not good. The first two aren't good, but if for some reason, like it's all going to come down to Nola, and then we don't know what it's. Okay, we don't know what Walker's going to give us.
No,
and if they don't go out and sign somebody else, it's there. You know how much pressure is going to be on Painter? Seriously, Painter this year. I mean, I'm not saying he don't deserve to be it, because if he was on the Braves, he would have been up 2 years ago. If he was on it, it's just, I just see this team as like there's problems, and it's you got two really good starting pitchers, and the rest is question. You got a question mark. You know what you're going to basically get with Walker, question mark in Painter, and nobody knows how Zach Wheeler is going to come back. And like I said 2 minutes ago, it kind of baffles me why you say he ain't going to be at the start of the season when you gave a date already. Did they forget, or was there hope for him to start, maybe come back, before May 28th, and now something happened? I mean, this is the question I'm thinking, like in my head, like what's going on?
And we know they're going to score runs. Legitimate question. It's a legitimate question, and maybe he didn't. Maybe he wasn't supposed to, because I don't know if a lot of people caught that. I caught it. You caught it. He threw a date out there. Maybe he thought people forgot, and people were like hedging that Wheeler could be ready for the start of the season. I don't think a legitimate Phillies fan really had any hope that he'd be available for opening day. I don't really think that was even in the cards. I mean, he got the surgery on September 23rd. That's almost at the end of the season. You know what I mean? So basically is the end of the season.
Joe Hale says something about Bueller not signing with anybody till July.
Well, Oh, that's Bueller like doing what's that friggin' what was that Namakasu type move where
yeah,
he's
he's doing what Roger Clemens did. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. He did what Roger Clemens did before. I think Roger did that.
Yeah. So.
Well, I'm telling you, I don't. Look. I think the Phillies should just. Paul, go after Paul Skeens. Why not? Just trade it all, man. You want to talk about a rotation that could carry you to the World Series with Skeens, Sanchez, Luzardo, Wheeler coming back? You name me a top four then. Who's better than that? That'll carry you straight to the World Series.
Would you do this? Crawford, Miller, Painter, Raconis, Bohm, Castellanos for Skeens?
No, I think Aiden Miller you'd have to give up. I think Miller, you wouldn't. I think Miller, maybe Painter.
What Miller, Painter, Crawford for Skeens? Would you do Miller?
I don't know about Crawford. I think you can get around Crawford. You might be able to give up over Rincones, maybe. I think they're going to want to. You know what? You might somehow be able to get rid of Baum, but you don't have a third baseman. That's the problem. I mean, they might take Baum because they need a third baseman.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, unless you could trade Stott and maybe he plays third for them, and you could put Sosa at second, you can platoon. But I don't want him to go after the kid from Detroit because he didn't sign with Detroit, so there's a reason. He's a free agent. He's going to want his money.
Paul Skeens, he's getting paid next year. He's getting paid.
That's what I'm talking about. And you don't have to pay Skeens for a couple years. But do you know about? Check this out. Guess who has the number one minor league system in all of baseball?
Dodgers.
Yes. Just think about this. They could trade whatever they wanted for Paul Skeens and not lose a beat.
What about this? What about Skubal being with the Dodgers next year? What about a potential Skubal, Skeens, Ohtani rotation in 2027 for
you might
Dodgers.
see 2 to 3. You might see 2 to 3. What I'm saying is that this is the problem with the Phillies. The Phillies don't get their players up here, and then they don't have players back there like the Braves, and then to be able to trade away and still have good players. They've never had a good farm system, So I think you got to. I don't know if Pittsburgh's going to trade Skeens, but he's going to ask to be traded. He is. He's going to, and the Phillies ain't got a shot.
They got 5 years left of team control, but he's arbitration eligible. He's arbitration eligible at the end of 26. So he's arbitration eligible for 27, which he'll get money out of that. But you're right. Pittsburgh's cheap. Are they really into winning? Are they going to want to do that? Do they figure they can win in the window of 5 years with Skeens, or is it better for them to trade Skeens and plus up minor leagues or whatever? It's a very interesting problem to have. But the answer.
And remember the CBA.
And the CBA is going to change. So if I was Dombrowski, I would pretty much give up everybody for Paul Skeens. I would gut the minor leagues for Paul Skeens.
Well, absolutely. That's what I mean. Maybe you can maybe they take on a Castellanos and that you just pay the contract. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just put them in there. Yeah. But I think you could keep a Crawford. You know what I'm saying? I think you'd have to give up a Miller. And a Painter, and I don't know all the rest. And there's a couple young guys down there they might want besides that. They're just maybe not a Rincones Jr. Maybe there's a couple other kids that
Dante Norrie, there's Keaton Anthony, there's Gage Wood. I mean, there are some younger players. There's Escobar.
Yes.
There's some younger players down there. Yeah. No,
yes, right. And I'm just saying, I got a feeling he's going to go after that Skubal, and that's. I just got this feeling they're going to make a run in him. I don't think Detroit's going to do so well, and the Phillies are going to take a run and for a half a season and give up.
Now it's an interesting situation because with the CBA problem and Luzardo's a free agent next year. This is a very
he signed. Didn't Luzardo sign a 1-year deal?
Luzardo came over on a 2-year deal. Let me look.
No, I thought he signed an extension.
Not that I saw. Let me check this out. Let's pull up Jesus Luzardo's
He's just gonna bump and raise.
Let me see what we got here. All right, let's go to the Phillies. Where are you at? Where are you at? Phillies. All right, Phillies 2027 free agents. Yep, Jesus Luzardo is a UFA at the end of the season.
Okay, I know he got a pay raise or something. That's why.
Let's take a look at what his contract was. So Luzardo signed a 1-year contract with the Phillies
for $11 million.
It was his arbitration. So this was his $11 million. This was his final year of arbitration. So but he was under team control. He would have played for the Phillies anyway. But yeah, he's a UFA next year.
Look, maybe you can package Luzardo. Look, if you package Luzardo to Pittsburgh, maybe put him in there to Pittsburgh. Maybe they, I don't know. I mean, maybe, he's a major league ready kid. Maybe they think they can sign him, because he's going to be a lot cheaper than Skeens. But does he want to play there? That's the whole thing. I mean, they're going to just want minor league players. It's a shame that you can't do like these 3-team deals, like they do in NBA, where you get another team involved and you just start throwing pieces all around and everything. But
I mean, they can do that, but you're right. It's very hard. Nobody wants to play ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm a Phillies fan. I'm going to root for them, but I mean, I'm a realist. I think third place. I think Dombrowski screwed up a lot of stuff this year. He didn't do nothing. He's running back the same old team. And he's going to infuse. We're hoping that Rincone's getting in there. If he don't, he's going to infuse one young starting player. I mean, not everyday player in Crawford. That's it. That's it. So what's he going? What's that do?
Listen. I feel you. I do. And I am not doing handstands about this offseason either. You knew what my plan was, and I wanted to get younger. I wanted to get more versatile. I didn't want to have a masher lineup. I don't want my number 4 hitter. I don't want 7 number 4 hitters in my lineup. And we kind of still do have that in a certain way. I didn't want that anymore.
But how you counter that is you put Crawford second. I don't care. Schwarber third, Harper third, Schwarber fourth. You bang them guys down a little bit. So we know Harper can get on base, and we know that Crawford can get on base. We know Turner can get on base. I mean, even if you don't put Crawford 2, maybe Bomb 2, and you just move them guys down because they're all going to feed off each other. Being up top it's going to be a lot of strikeouts. Of a lot of strikeouts from Schwarber, from Harper, from Garcia. Bob don't really strike out a whole lot, but you see where I'm going. Them 3 guys, there might be 500 strikeouts.
Well,
I mean look, if they do 150, yeah, but what I'm saying with them 3 guys, if they strike out even 150 times each, that's 450.
Yeah, no, listen, you're right. And we've seen, and the other part is we've already seen how this works. We already know how this is going to play out. There's not going to be this great, rejuvenation and a great change. We know what Alec Bohm is. We know what Kyle Schwarber is. We know what Trey Turner is. We know these guys. And that's the most frustrating part about it because we know what they are, and it's not enough come October. And it's been proven year after year.
Yeah. Here's the question: is Schwarber going to be hungry? Now I know he's been constant since he's been hitting home runs, but is he going to? You know what I mean? Getting that big contract, is he going to come back with the same flair?
Well, Saquon Barkley didn't, and he got a contract extension after a big season. I don't expect Schwarber to hit 56 home runs. I do expect him to hit between 39 and 45. I still expect that. Yeah, that's acceptable, right? But anything less than 39, no.
But he's got to, he's got to. If he gives me 39 to 45 home runs and only gives me 100 RBIs, that's an unacceptable thing. But it's not his. Well, I shouldn't say it. It is part of his fault because he don't want to bat lower, so he's not going to get the RBIs that he should have, and that's his own fault. And that, like I tell my buddy all the time, I don't know if he can win an MVP, but if he batted 4th, and I think. If he batted 250 and hit 45 home runs and bagged in 140 RBIs, I think he wins I think he can win an MVP.
I mean, he banged
I
in
think he can.
132 RBIs last year, batting in the 2-hole, wherever the hell they had him, and then he had 132 RBIs. Can you imagine he batted in the 4-hole last year? He might have driven in about 160 runs, man. You're right, yeah.
That's where I'm getting at. Like, I mean, I think even batting 250, he'd win an MVP. But
I agree.
You got this guy running the team, and then you got all the players that just tell Robbie no, and he just goes with it. Maybe Mattingly. Look, I'll leave it with this. Hopefully, Mattingly's running the team, and Robbie's just the face, just standing there, and he just looks at Mattingly. Well, no, maybe Mattingly does the Chip Kelly thing with his fingers. He just whips up a number 2. It's a signal. Robbie knows what that means: a 1, a 4, a 5, a 6. You know what I'm saying? And Robbie don't have to manage really. Don's managing the whole team.
Yeah. Hey, I'll be okay
you have
with
a good
that.
night, Matty.
Yeah, you too, Kaepernick. Happy belated birthday.
You told me happy birthday last night. Now you're doing happy belated birthday, man. Everybody's just like forget.
Get out of here. Oh my God. Can't even be nice to the guy. I ain't good guy, man. All right. Saying happy belated birthday. Yeah, I know I said happy birthday last night. I expect April 24th is my birthday. I expect a happy birthday and a belated one on the 25th. It's common courtesy, goddammit. Eagles keep A.J. Brown and Tanner. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they keep either one. Kaepernick brought up some good points. And as I said, we broke down the NL East. It was time. It was time to get it all out there and to see it in black and white. It's time to really wrap our heads around it. And yes, the Mets and the Braves have a more versatile lineup. They have a more offensive, potent lineup. They can come at you and beat you a lot of different ways at the plate. The Phillies can't, right? We already know that. But what the Braves and Mets are lacking right now, on this date at least, is real, like, competent, deep starting pitching. And what the Phillies have, even with the uncertainty surrounding Zach Wheeler, the uncertainty surrounding Andrew Painter, can Aaron Nola continue to sort of, he was starting to figure it out a little bit there towards the end of the season, and it was solid in the playoffs. But if Aaron Nola can stay away from 2025, because it was a dreadful season. And I agree with Kaepernick. If Nola is rocking an ERA near 6, then we got some problems. But still, with all that, I think the Phillies have the best rotation in the National League East today. There's a lot of unknowns on that Mets rotation, a lot more unknowns on that Mets rotation than there are on the Phillies rotation. And relying on injuries to strike the Braves down, you're right. I'm not saying that's what we do, but Schwallenbach is already out. He's already on the IL. So we have a better proven rotation than the Braves. Offensively, no question that the Mets and Braves outclass the Phillies in every single aspect. Now, again, how does that translate into 162 games? Can Acuna stay healthy? Can Lindor, who's on this DL right now, can he stay healthy? Right? I mean, there's a lot of unknowns. And I do have a feeling, and I said this all winter, and I'm going to maintain this, that this Phillies this Phillies lineup, which I don't know. Oh, it's the Mets. Where is the Phillies? I told you, I've said this about 1,000 times so far tonight. It pained me to put this together. It pained me to pencil Alec Bowman at 4. It pained me to put JT Realmuto down at 8. It did. I hate this lineup. I can't stand it. I really don't. But is this the lineup? Does this lineup look this way come October 1st? Does Justin Crawford supplant himself and is the leadoff hitter by the end of the season? And we got Turner batting second. You got Harper batting third. Everyone's pushed down 1 in the lineup. Does Aiden Miller crack the lineup and maybe he's batting 9th by the end of the season? Is Gabriel Raconis Jr. your new right fielder by the end of the season? And he's batting in that 7 hole. You move Realmuto up to the 6 hole. That's the lineup that I'm looking at. Maybe I should have did that lineup instead because that's the one I like. Right? That to me is a lineup that can go and put some runs on the board and score some runs in multiple different ways. I don't like the way this looks right now, and there's no getting around that. I'm not denying that. This has not been the offseason that I wanted, but I think it still has the potential to be the season that I want if things go right. If Justin Crawford can find his footing, if Aiden Miller wows the socks off the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs in the first 2 months of the season, if Gabriel Raconis Jr. finally gets his chance, maybe he wins the job. Maybe he's that last bench piece that we need coming out of camp. Maybe Raconis takes the Weston Wilson spot instead of Dylan Moore. If he does that and he's part of the opening day roster, that's a step in getting that lineup to where I wanted it to be. I wanted a complete DNA change of the Philadelphia Phillies. This isn't it. It's a little bit of a change, but it's not what I signed up for. But it's got the potential to develop into that come 1 October. This will obviously not be the lineup, just at a attrition rate by the end of the season. And I still like this rotation. I still will put this rotation as is now. I still like this rotation, even as it stands right now. Taijuan Walker's got to give me 4 innings every 5th day. It's all he's got to give me, 4 innings and give up less than 5 runs in those 4 innings. And we got a chance to win. I still like this rotation until Wheeler gets back. Then once Wheeler gets back, Walker's ass goes to the bullpen. I still like this rotation because this rotation has proven itself. It proved itself last year. Now, do you go out and sign a Walker Buehler, a Patrick Corbin, a Justin Verlander, who's going back to the Tigers, by the way? Do you go in and get a safety net? Yeah, you do. And they should sign another starter. And I think they will. But I still like this rotation. I do. And I think it's the best rotation currently in the National League East. As silly as that might sound, I'm not in love with the Mets and the Braves rotations. And then the Nationals and Marlins are what they are, right? Oh, man. Who has the best bench in the NL East? Hell do I know? Jeez. The best bench? I don't know. Who's the best backup catcher in the National League East? Who is that? I don't even know who the Braves backup catcher is. Damn, Joe. That was I'll bring you that question. We'll do a bench breakdown tomorrow. We'll break down. Give me 24 hours to figure out who the bench pieces are for all these teams. We'll do a bench breakdown tomorrow. All right, let's get into the of the night segment because we do have a Philly spotlight player to do as we're getting a little deep into this show. All right, yeah. So Philly spotlight player tonight. We're getting deep into this now. My goal is to finish the spotlight players before I leave on the 18th or 21st. So I'm done with that, and I can concentrate on the NHL draft and the MLB draft and the Phillies prospect breakdowns as they will start. And we won't start breaking Phillies prospects down until about mid-April because we're going to wait. For one, I got to wait and see where these kids end up. I don't know what teams they're going to end up in. And then we'll start breaking down we'll continue to break down the NHL draft. The MLB draft, I'm going to give that, again, for those of you that are tracking college baseball and that follow college baseball. For the most part, college baseball has kind of already started their season. But Division I speaking, opening day is on Friday. A full slate of games, Division I starting Friday. Various locations in the West, South, and Puerto Rico around the North American hemisphere. So if you have ESPN Plus, I strongly recommend you'll be enjoying some baseball on Friday. You straight up, because it'll be on Friday. But we'll start breaking down the MLB draft probably in May. It's a good time to start that as well. So tonight, it's the spotlight players as we continue to talk about who I think are going to be poignant members of the 2026 Phillies. And let's go to the man who let us all down. That's right. This is Jose Alvarado after he gave up the PEDs. He gained some weight, I guess. No need to go back into what we already know. Okay, a very abbreviated 2025 season for Alvarado. Just 28 games, 4-2 with 7 saves, 26 innings pitched, a 3.8 ERA. Obviously, then he got hurt when he came back from the 80-game suspension and missed some time, and then was ineligible to participate in the postseason. And yes, he let us down, right? But here he is. He's fresh, clean. It's time to, reset Jose Alvarado. One of the things we didn't break down tonight was the bullpens of the NL East, and we'll maybe do that at a later time as well. But Alvarado jumps into a bullpen this year where I think he might be okay, right? I think the pressure is off of him now. There's multiple options on the back end of that bullpen. You got Brad Keller, newly acquired from the Cubs. You got Kerkering, who I swear to Christ, I still believe in, and I still think he's a closer. I don't know if that'll be here, but I still believe in Orion Kerkering, and I truly do. And you got, of course, Alvarado, and then everything is, of course, setting up for Johan Duran. So Alvarado may have an opportunity with less pressure on him to continue to sort of, evolve as a pitcher. He was throwing really hard and was very good through 2024 and the first until they busted his ass in 2025. Now, what is the lack of PEDs going to do to him pitching wise? Well, we'll have to stay tuned to find that out. But I think the pressure's off of Alvarado. He will not be asked to close. I don't think ever in 2026, and maybe once or twice. But there's multiple options in the back end of that bullpen. This is the most options we have had in this bullpen without committee or bullpen by committee, it's no longer that. And I think that will suit Alvarado. I think the role of a third option setup man suits Jose Alvarado, and I'm confident in that for him. But we're going to need a bounce back from him. And what does the lack of PEDs? What does he look like now that he's not juicing anymore? Is that going to change his is that going to take that millimeter off that fastball? Is that going to take that half a centimeter off that break on that breaking ball? Is Jose Alvarado's career over now that he's clean? I don't know. Alvarado has a lot to prove to his teammates, to himself, to us. But I think he's going to go in doing it with a lot less pressure, as that back into the bullpen was addressed this offseason. So I like what the Phillies have done with the back end of the bullpen. I think they have some great options back there. I still believe in Kerkering, and we'll talk Kerkering a little bit later on in another segment. But I think Alvarado will benefit greatly from the revamped back end of the Phillies bullpen. And there you have Jose Alvarado, our Phillies spotlight player of the night. Happy birthday and belated birthday 6 months. My birthday's in April. It's in 2 months. God damn it. Get it right. All right. Well, let's wrap it up with my favorite segment of all time. Yep, MattyB's card review in the house tonight. We talked about it earlier on the top of the show. Talked about it yesterday. Tomorrow at noon. Again, I don't know how this is going to look, so don't get mad at me if you're standing in the middle of Target tomorrow at noon, staring at your watch, and then at high noon, you don't see any baseball cards. I don't know how they can throw down a I don't know how this works. I don't know if it's synchronized around the country. I don't know how this works. But tomorrow at noon Eastern time, Topps 2026 Series 1 baseball cards will hit the shelves. And we're on for another collectible season. But tonight, we're going to turn the clock back to 1990. That's it. We're going to go way, way back, and we're going to go back into the wax pack era. We're leaving the digital age, and we're heading right back to wax pack. One of the final years of the wax cards. We're not even talking Topps tonight, man. We're talking Score baseball cards from the 1990 set. And again, a wax pack card. You know the wax packs. You know what I mean when I say wax pack, right? So when you open it up, it had the gum. You know, the wax pack. Cards today are all digitized. Back then, they were printed, and they called them wax packs. But that's what we're going to talk tonight, and we're going back to 1990, and we're going to talk one of the greatest pitchers of all time in baseball. And he was celebrated in the 1990 set of Score for an achievement that he accomplished during the 1989 season. And I speak of the Express himself, Nolan Ryan, arguably the greatest pitcher of all time. The man did it for 4 decades? Multiple teams, just never seemed to stop. Stayed away from injuries, pitched in an era where they pitched you. I mean, pitched you like 110 pitches on average. Complete games were, secondhand to this guy. Obvious first ballot Hall of Famer. Never at one point, growing up in that era. And I got the back end of Nolan Ryan. I mean, Nolan Ryan debuted in the 60s. I got him in the 80s. And so he was almost 20 years into his career, or maybe over 20 years into his career, when I was watching him. And the guy was dominant. Most notably in my time for the Astros and the Rangers. The battles that him and Carlton would have. Who's better, Carlton or Ryan? Obviously, in the books, Ryan is the strikeout king. Carlton is not, but as for left-handers go, Carlton is, but Ryan being a righty. But I think it's okay now to say that in history's retrospect, Nolan Ryan is the greatest pitcher of all time. If you kind of just add everything into his career and what he accomplished and what era he pitched in. I mean, I know these guys, they'll never publicly admit to it, but they sit back and they laugh at these kids today and the way they pitch and the way they're taken care of. I mean, these guys went out and they threw hard, and they threw often, and they threw deep in the games. And Nolan Ryan stayed away from injuries, which was a miracle. But this card is from the 1990 Score set. It's a base card. It's a highlight card. And this picture was taken on, what was the date here? I got the date here. August 22nd, 1989, as Nolan Ryan recorded his 5,000th career strikeout. It was against Ricky Henderson. And this was taken directly after that moment occurred in that game. And Score, created a highlight card out of it for 1990, deservedly so, as he was, given the dubious honor of recording 5,000 strikeouts in his career. And this is the card right now. This card actually for it's obviously not a rookie card, but it's a Nolan Ryan card. It's not even it's an insert. It's not his card from that year. It's an insert card from the 90 Score set. An ungraded card, about $1.40. PSA 7, about $6. PSA 8, about $9. PSA 9, about $11. PSA 9.5, $30. And a PSA 10 of this card is going roughly for about $43 right now, which is pretty good for a base card in 1990 of Nolan Ryan and just a highlight card. It's an insert. It wasn't his card from that set. It was just an insert. So a cool card. And these are the cards that as you're rummaging through, especially the older cards, and you come across a Nolan Ryan, it doesn't matter what year it's from, you put it away. You preserve it, you put it away. He's just one of those guys, the greatest pitcher of all time. nothing really amazing about the layout of this card. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's 1990 for God's sakes, but there you go. Obviously, a special card for a special pitcher on the MattyB card review tonight, and here it is in its physical form right here. I got it for you right there. Again, about $40 is a PSA 10, and this is the back of it. A little bio of what happened that night and all that. That's where I was reading that information from. So there you have it. Tonight's MattyB's card review, the 1990s score, Nolan Ryan insert highlight card memorializing his 5,000th strikeout that he recorded in 1989 against Ricky Henderson. So there's your card review. A must have in any collection if you come across Nolan Ryan cards. Just you put them away. You put them away and you wait for Father Time to do his thing. Speaking of Father Time doing his thing, that is it for me tonight. I want to thank everybody. We did some great things. We broke down the National League East. We went team by team by team. We talked projected lineups, rotations. I don't know if you've come out of it feeling any better about the Phillies. I think what we've sort of deducted out of that little experiment was that offensively, well, we did multiple things. One, it's a 3-team race. Phillies, Braves, Mets. Nationals and Marlins got some young pieces, got some nice young pieces, but they are light years away from competing in this division. I'm not saying they won't at some point, but it's not in 2026. The Phillies, Mets, and Braves are the class act of the division. Offensively speaking, I think we've concluded that the Mets and Braves have more ways to come at you offensively than the Phillies do. They're more balanced, they're more structured. They got abilities to move people along, not just hit home runs. They're not a one-trick pony. They got some excitement in their lineups, and that's obvious. Phillies do not. But where we got to when the rubber hit the road, or where the rubber meets the road, the Phillies rotation and all of its influx still is better right now than the Braves and the Mets. And that is what wins championships. It does. And right now, as we stand in mid-February, again, just hours away from the first official, pitchers and catcher workout down there in spring training, I think it's safe to say in the National East, at least, the Phillies have the better rotation. Again, even with all their problems. We talked about we did our key position, our position group storylines, top storylines of 2025. We talked the quarterback room of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we concluded there was 3 major storylines about that quarterback room. Jalen Hurts, is he team first, or are his limits reached? Tanner McKee, is he a trade chip or a future starter? It is time to make a decision about Tanner. And the third story being, is it time to potentially draft a quarterback, somewhat high in the 2026 draft in order to replace Tanner McKee if you're not going to play him? And those were your top storylines of the quarterback room of the Philadelphia Eagles in 2025. We did our other night segment. We did our day in Philadelphia sports history, our card review, and all that other great stuff. So we broke some really good ground tonight. Accomplished some great things. Great show. Thank you, Joe Hale. I'm actually going to a card show next Saturday. That's good stuff. It's the time of the year for them. November through April are the card show times. And then after that, obviously it gets too nice to go to a card show, but this is the time to go. I'm actually looking for a card show in my area. I might go to one this weekend. I think there's one near me this weekend. I might go. Anyway, great to have you here tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night, midweek, as we get close to the end of another week here on the program. Baseball's back, and it feels good. Obviously, we want a little bit more of it, but, it's a stage. It's a process. So we'll talk tomorrow night. Until I see you guys then, I'm out of here. Have a good one.